Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 42 of the Wheels to Walking podcast, the podcast with a guy in a wheelchair and a guy not in a wheelchair.
What up?
It's going to be very chill. It's going to be very chill.
It's going to be mellow.
And chill.
And relaxed.
And chill.
Chill. Could it?
I'm feeling this episode is going to be a little bit chill.
Chill.
Guys, on three, we're going to say chill. 1, 2, 3.
Chill.
That was so chill.
Was
I love that.
That was really
bro.
chill.
Wow, that was really
got
chill.
Can we
chill.
just vibe out and chill? Would you like to chill, bro? You wanna
Try not to vibe challenge.
Okay, I just want to make it a quick apology to everyone who attended the live on
Sunday night.
I have recently been obsessed with this guy named Ozzy who makes these dope ass instrumental beats, and I just had to share. And only after the live did I realize that the music I was playing out of my computer was not translating very well into your ears, and the fact that I was just quietly sitting on live by myself, not doing anything. I was typing in the chat. I was in the chat hard, but when I was typing, it was also making the audio even worse. It was a bad live experience. It makes sense why there was only 17 people there at the end.
Yeah. I didn't join the live. I was
You want to know how bad it was?
I was at my house. No, my parents came over to try the VR, and that was when you were doing the live. And Matthew got on it for a second. He goes, "What's Richard doing on live?" And I go, "I don't know. It said try not to vibe challenge." He goes, "He's not doing anything."
Because the music was so fucking good, dude.
You need to get a proper live setup.
Yeah, I really do. Like a proper live streaming setup.
Proper.
And
it's very proper, mate.
proper.
And so if we're playing music, then it'll just be coming straight from the computer versus like playing from the speakers of your computer and then allowing the microphone of your computer pick up the speakers of the computer.
You know how bad it was? YouTube didn't send out notifications to some of my top viewers. Like my mom, who watches everything, who's on notification squad, everything, didn't get a notification because YouTube even realized like, yo, this live's lame. We're not going to tell anybody about this live. Like he's getting no likes. He's not even talking. It's just like weird music in the back. Like YouTube algorithm is like, nah, fam, we're not telling anybody about this. This is trash.
Yeah. I live streamed earlier this week actually on Facebook. I live streamed from my VR and I did it as like a test for like 10 minutes and I ended it just to like see. And I was like, that was really fun. So then I ended up doing it again and I streamed for like an hour. And it was super fun. But yeah, like people joined in the beginning, but then after, like 10 minutes, Facebook stops telling people that I'm live really. And, that's not typically a platform where I'm doing that type of content. So I'm sure people were like, what's happening? But the people that did jump in were like, yo, this is cool.
Yeah, but
it's such a different type of game.
What's difficult about live, anything that I've experienced is in kind of replay. Most of the time, no one, like, unless you strategically recorded the live to be replayed, no one's going to watch it. Like, when you posted, you're like, hey, I was live, and from minute 17 to 38, I was fucking killing it. I was like, yo, that'd be cool to see, but it would be more cool if I knew he was actually doing it right now. Like, if he was in this moment, like, at his house, like, killing it, I'd be like, dope, I might watch. But the fact that it's like, hey, a couple of hours ago or a day ago or whatever, I did this one thing, and I'm like, I'm not. That's why I always delete my lives, whether it's on Instagram or whether it's on YouTube. I'm like, we out, we're done.
Yeah.
I just don't have any desire to keep it up because it's like, it is a live experience meant to be had live.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I just did it for fun. Like I was thinking about it. I'm like, that would be a really fun thing to do, like VR streaming live at some point, like on Twitch or something like that. But like right now, I just don't even really like have the time for it. But on the weekends or something, I could do it. But
yeah, it'd be fun. Yeah, speaking of weekends, like your weekend, like we were probably gonna hang out Friday and maybe even do some stuff Saturday. But then like last minute, like I literally Friday is my busiest day, period. I usually am always working till 6, sometimes even 9. And then Saturday is another busy day, especially in the mornings because it's like launching all the videos and all the content and stuff like that. My sister hits me up. She's like, hey, someone that I know has this lake house that they're willing to let us use for the weekend, and it's massive. Like, do you want to come down? It's like an hour and a half away. And I was like, dude, I'm in the middle of like a merch launch, final days. Like I'm gonna have to launch a video. Like I'm so busy right now. Like there's no way this is gonna happen. Like I can't even pack. Like this is crazy. Like no way. I still have to go grocery shopping. Like I didn't start driving there till like 9:30 or 10 because I had so much to do. But eventually we went there and it was cool, dude. It was fucking cool. It was like, it wasn't super accessible. It was accessible enough that like I rolled around in my wheelchair a lot. It was like this cool dock and like paddle boards and like kayaks and like floaty tubes. And, you know, in the basement had like, you know, a pool table and a TV and, you know, foosball and basketball. And like, you know, the upstairs had like screened in decks. And like, it was a fucking cool experience. But I remember like panic packing.
Yeah.
And like, I have to pack. Impulsivity is hard as a disabled guy. I kind of have to just like, I can't just like on a whim. But I did. I was like, okay, I got to grab like all my clothes and all my cath stuff and all my shower stuff and all my sleep stuff and like my meds and like, you know, my computer, all my work stuff because I have to work too. Because Saturday morning I launched the video, and then all day Saturday, every 3 hours, I updated all the Facebook ads for the merch.
Were you doing that manually?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. I didn't know if that was like scheduled out. That was cool.
No, it was just a way to like increase urgency in the last 24 hours. Just keep.
No, that was awesome because I was seeing the ads and it was like 24 hours left. I'm like, oh, cool. And then it was like 3 hours left. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, I did 20.
This is active.
I did 24. I did 24, 12, 6, and 3, and then after 3, I also did some other copy that was like, by midnight tonight, this is your final chance. If you're waiting for the last, you'll never get it again. Like,
yeah,
like some really cool copy. And so I was actively doing that while I was at the lake. And me and Jalila had a great time together. It was really cool to spend time with my family, my mom and my sister and my brother-in-law and my niece and my nephew. And then on the way out of town, that Sunday, Jalila and I had tickets to go to this thing called Jurassic Quest. So Jurassic Quest is like a live... life-size or almost, probably not life-size, animatronic dinosaurs. And the previous year, we went to see it at the Georgia World Congress Center. It was indoor. And you walked around and had a cool experience. And we did it just us. We don't have kids, but it was just like a sea of children.
You don't have kids? Okay.
Sea of children. But she loves dinos so much. We were like, okay, let's go see these dinos. And then...
Did you eat some dino gummies before you went?
No, but that would have been lit though. And then my niece and
vitamins.
My niece and nephew came with me, and they were so well behaved. It was awesome.
But you were in the car, right?
Yeah. So we left the lake house.
There's like a drive-through Jurassic Quest.
Yeah. So we left the lake house and drove like an hour to the racetrack, because it was in the parking lot of the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Ah, nice.
And then there was like a drive-through experience this time because of COVID, obviously. And there was like an audio tour. Like you'd play this like SoundCloud link, and like as you were driving through, it was like this audio tour. Like it was
cool.
It was cooler than the original experience, I think. And also because I had, you know, 2 young kids with me that were losing their shit. Like it made it even cooler too. But on the way there, I was like, so they're young. I can't be listening to the kind of music that I'm listening to. I pretty much have to listen to like lyricless, just beats, you know, and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I found Ozzy, which is what I've been listening to, and the album is called Archives Old Beats, and that was what I was listening to on the live. And the reason why I made the joke, like, try not to vibe, is like my niece and my nephew were like bobbing their head, and like my nephew started to like, try to freestyle, and my niece was like singing along to it. And it was like, and even Jalila and I would be in the middle of a conversation, and one of the beats would drop, and we would just look at each other and give it that nasty face and be like,
yeah, that bass face.
Yeah.
That
but it was
stank face.
It was cool as shit. So yeah, last minute lake house trip. It was fucking in the middle of doing work, and
that's
like,
awesome.
I mean, my
friend invited me to her parents' lake house in a couple weekends. I'm like stoked for that.
Yeah, I was almost ready to be like, no, I can't do it. I got too much work to do. Like, there's no way I can pack that quick. You know, like I'm disabled. You know, like. But then there was a part of me that was like, no, this is like an impulse vacation that we can drive to. So I can have time with my family. I can have time with my girl. I can still get my work done. It's a new environment. I was like, and if I actually pull through, like I got a lot of shit to do today, but I could pull it off. Like I know I can pull it off. And I was like, fuck it. I'm saying yes. You know, like say yes to life. Ha ha ha. You know, like some stupid stuff like that. But
yeah, you got to just send it sometimes.
Yeah, I sent it and it worked out really well. And I was super stoked I did. And I'm super grateful, and like got to hang out with. It was like a cool experience, and it feels like a month ago. It was
Yeah, it was 2 days ago.
It was 3 days ago, and like
3 days ago, yeah.
And even like
dude, time has been going by so weird right now.
Time, what the fuck is up with time? Why does time feel like
why does time go by?
Well, I mean, so time is relative, right? But how busy you are, like, and what you. So I mean, I think about.
But sometimes when you're busy, it feels like time is going slow, and sometimes when you're busy, it feels like time is going so fast.
Well, it's weird. So I think about.
I feel like recently it's been going fast.
From fast and slow for me.
Yeah.
So it's like from Friday morning until even now, I've been going pretty much nonstop, like 9 to 9, just like busting, and like that means I'm super busy, which is good. But like Jurassic Quest and the Lake House was a month ago in my head, but it was like 3 days ago.
Yeah, there's been so much that has
it was
happened.
Like there is so much stuff that's going. Because
we filmed a video on Monday, and then yesterday we worked really hard, and blah blah blah.
And then I had a whole fucking crazy like evening that is not going on the podcast. I'll have to tell you guys about later. But it was like this whole weird experience that I was like, okay, how did I get here? And secondly, never again. Like this is like it wasn't like a bad experience. It was just a weird experience, and like I don't know. I'll just have to tell it to you guys later. It was just one of those things that I was like, geez,
that's funny.
I said yes to too many people, but like on different days. But
yeah, you called me, you were like, I've got people coming through. I'm like, what does that mean?
But it like basically everyone's schedule changed and they all converged on the same day. So I had like 3 people coming through in a 2-hour period, and I was like, and then people like leave early.
I think
and people,
I know who one of them
people
was,
stay
yeah.
late, and it was like this whole thing, and I was like, jeez, what's going on? But
that's funny.
I've been trying to like figure out like this.
I was gonna say on Sunday, you were doing the live. My parents came over and tried the VR.
Oh yeah.
And dude, my dad did the flying game, and when he like took off, he literally like started losing his balance and like freaking out, and he was like, "Yeah, help me, help me, help me!" And he was like literally like, whoa, like he looked like he was about to fall. So I had to run over and like grab him. And like my dad doesn't have very good like legs and stuff. Like he had double knee replacement last year. He had like spinal fusion. Like he's got, he has been losing a lot of weight though. He's down he's down a lot of weight.
Good for him.
Which is awesome.
That's awesome.
He looks really good right now. But he like doesn't have the best like, legs right now. And so just the combination of like trying this thing and flying and being kind of freaked out, and like it just sent him over the edge, and he was like, I don't like this, and like took it off. And it was so funny. Me and my brother were just dying because my mom was like, oh my gosh. And like, it was just so funny. Help me, help me.
So I had a moment with Anas the other night. So Anas got a VR.
Yeah.
And he was over here hanging out. He hung out between he came late. He was like the late crew, which was good because I needed like a good couple of hours just to like chill with like a trusted homie and just kind of shoot the shit and whatever. And then it was like he was telling me a story about like how he like likes to sit down on the ground and imagine himself swimming through water, like he was meditating, but he was talking about VR. Like he sits down while wearing VR and like floating around through the water.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, think about this. I was like, an experience you had in virtual reality, you just described to me as a real experience that you had here in real life.
I know.
I go, you described, it was a memory of something that never happened.
I know.
Because you experienced it as if it were something that happened.
It's freaky.
So you're like, yeah, I sat at the bottom of the ocean and I was just kind of floating around. I'm like, you did that in VR? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, dude, that's not real. And he's like, whoa. And then we had this whole deep conversation about like perception and reverse reality and like simulations. And I was like, dude, that's why people think that like right now, because there's no way to tell the difference. Like when your dad freaking out or like walking the plank, or like VR is so immersive, even in its early forms, that you can't tell the difference. Like,
and once you get good,
like an actual memory that you made in VR, you described to me as a memory you did in real life.
Exactly. And
that blew my fucking mind.
Once you figure out how to interface with VR so well, if you think about it, like when you're a baby, you don't know how to interface with reality because you don't have a grasp of how your limbs and spatial awareness and all that works. And over time, you get really good at it.
And shapes.
And like when you lost the use of your legs, like you had to figure out a new way to interface with reality mobility by using a wheelchair, and now
I never
it's
thought of
second
it like
nature.
that. I never thought of it like that.
But you're
yeah.
using a device that was built by humans to roll around. Same thing with glasses. Same thing with any kind of
like
assistive device.
hearing aids,
Same thing with
crutches,
driving a
canes,
car. You're
yeah.
interfacing with reality in a totally different way. But once you get really good, like the first time you drove a car, it's freaky. You're changing lanes was the freakiest thing to me. Like I didn't like changing lanes. I didn't like when people passed me. Like it freaked me out. But now it's like second nature. But in VR, like grabbing something, you press a button. But like once that becomes second nature, you just know when I need to grab something, I grab it with the grab button. And when I need to fire something, I press the trigger or whatever. Like it becomes like second nature. And once you get so good that it becomes second nature, you can like in your peripherals like reach out and grab something. Like in the beginning, you probably would like look directly at it and think about the button. Oh yeah, I got to press the grab button and grab it.
Oh,
but now once you get good,
in that space,
you just
know it's
reach
there.
out. You know it's exactly there, and you can just grab it. And the very first time I did VR, I did a podcast with this lady who ran a VR lab, and I did a VR experience, and I remember vividly having the realization that you're talking about with the NOS was after I left, I go, I have these memories of being in Rick and Morty's garage because I played the Rick and Morty game, and I'm like, I had the memory of hanging out with Rick, but I never hung out with Rick. Like none of that happened, but it was a memory in my brain of being in the garage. I'm like, that is fucking weird. That is so crazy that I like, and that's kind of what I was trying to bring up a couple weeks ago. And I was like, is the experience of being on the Great Wall of China in VR, how much better is going there in real life than the VR experience? Cause like it gets pretty damn close at a certain point.
I think there's, each sense
adds another layer,
adds a percentage of experience. And I believe,
and knowing in your deep brain that you're actually in China, like on another continent, like whatever,
but
it's
I
like
think,
a totally different thing. But it's pretty damn close.
I would say that vision is probably the highest, meaning like what disabled person has it the worst? Someone who's completely and totally blind, right? Like that is in my opinion, being completely and totally blind is probably the most difficult.
I wonder if a blind person would say that they'd rather be blind than in a wheelchair, though.
I don't know. Again, I don't know, but I'm saying I believe vision holds the most weight with your senses. So
deaf isn't like I definitely rather be deaf than blind for sure.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. Blindness is like that's one of those things. I mean, we'd have to hit up Molly Burke about that, but it's a very interesting thing. I think not just visually impaired, like completely and totally blind, like black, like you know. But because vision, that is how you
interface with the world
completely.
Typically.
So it's like if you're in the Great Wall of China, like in VR, sure you might not hear the birds, right? You might not feel.
I think
the
you'd
heat.
hear the birds.
You might not feel the heat. You might not smell the smells, right?
You couldn't reach out and touch the wall.
You might not touch the things, right? But like your vision probably is, I don't know, I would say 70%. Vision's huge. Your eyes are in that because vision is how it relates to your brain.
That's the other thing. My dad, when he was watching my mom do it, because we were projecting it on the TV, my dad's like, is she seeing it like differently than what we're seeing on the TV? I'm like, yeah, but she's seeing it in 3D, so it's way different. Like when you're watching TV, it's
immersive.
2D.
It's immersive.
That's what I'm saying. So you're getting two different images in each eye, and that's how vision works. Like this eye is slightly farther away than this eye in real life. That's how I know that table is a certain distance. Once you cover up one eye, your depth perception goes way far away, because the way that it works is your eyes are slightly far apart that you can tell slight differences in the thing. You know what's another weird thing? You can always see your nose, but your brain erases your nose.
It removes it. So
like if I think about looking at my nose right now, like I could think about seeing my nose, but
you know how you can test it? Just take your finger and touch the tip of your nose and you'll see your finger.
Yeah.
You see your finger.
And you can put it in between your eyes and you'll see
and
that.
You still see it there, yeah, but your brain
like erases your nose. Like it just knows that that's
We're
like
all just touching our nose.
spreading COVID.
Achoo.
But anyways, yeah, that's trippy, man. And actually there are meditation apps, by the way. I got one of them, but you had to pay extra money to get all these different things. But I'm like, it's really interesting because I liken it to like going into a sensory deprivation tank or something along those lines. Like you're like trying to change your whole environment.
My
and all
experience
that stuff.
with VR is subpar because
you can't move.
Because of the accessibility. You know, like with all.
I think if there was VR gloves where you didn't have to be holding a controller, and the controller was just your hands,
Well, here's
you
the
could
thing.
do more because you could roll around with your chair.
I could do more, yes, but the entire VR experience, like putting on the goggles, you are going into the universe of a able-bodied person, right? Like you are be like, this is made for, like, just like real life. It's made for able-bodied people. So it's like you put it on, you're like, oh, I feel still very disabled and limited inside of VR, which sucks. But there are some things you can find and some modifications. Like I can play Beat Saber, but I can pretty much only play it on
with no obstacles
and like no bombs and no arrows and one hand mode, and like it's not as cool as
the one hand mode is because your elbow's fucked up.
Yeah, but I see you guys doing dope shit, like especially the flying game. Like I see you guys, I'm like, God, that'd be so cool. And like I can fly in a straight line, kinda, like, and maybe like do this a little bit, but the second I need to like move my body, it just doesn't work. It's annoying. I'm like, fuck, man. Like
there are some games.
I want to enjoy this the same way that I see everyone else enjoying it. And I don't necessarily feel left out, but I definitely am like, it's not as cool.
There
for
are
me.
some games that are designed for seated experiences, and because you can move your legs, I'd wonder if you could play games in, like, for example, a rolling office chair where you could spin around with your feet.
Ooh, I never thought
because
about
with
that.
a wheelchair, it's your feet are in a footrest. It's not designed to be controlled with your feet. But if you're sitting in an office chair that is a spinny chair, you could potentially roll around and even move around with controlling your feet. But the main bulk of the weight would still be on the chair part.
Oh, that's got potential, actually. Next time I'm over, let's try the rolly chair.
Yeah, like you could use this chair,
that rolly chair,
and try rolling around. I think that has some legs.
On like
that has potential,
especially on like a wood floor that's like already kind of slippery.
We could do it in my room if I took the rug out in my office.
I like
that's
that
an interesting concept. Obviously, people with no functionality in their legs, that's not an option. But I mean, for you, But anyways, yeah, VR is crazy, and I feel like we'll keep talking about it because it's still so crazy.
It's still cool. So I want to kind of touch back to something that we briefly touched on again. I want to talk about merch again because it's like it's super successful. Like, meaning the goal we set out was goal one. We needed to do our own fulfillment successfully, meaning that we had someone else we were working with who was doing all of our fulfillment, all of our customer service, inventory, everything. We are now doing all of that. We've got the computer, we've got the printer, we've got the scale, we've got the
system.
Yeah, we've got the inventory, we have the systems. Like we learned all the software. Like we figured it out and we tested it and it worked. That's why I think a few people got sent out early promotional stuff, because we wanted to promote it
and test it,
but we also wanted to test the system. We wanted to make sure that the bare bones worked, and if there was like a failure or an error or an issue, we would find that issue with friends, with people.
Yeah. And
then so that was successful, and then the actual like video launch through the workout video was a cool success. Like getting people on Patreon was a big success. And then even like the number of sales we got, it wasn't as high as I was expecting, but it's a solid number. It's good. I'm really happy with it. But what I found is the most successful is public perception of Wheels to Walking and public perception of the temporary brand, because
you think it was mainly the Facebook ads?
So I think Facebook ads, Instagram ads, the video, the merch, etc. Like, this is why I feel like this was more powerful for the brand than I think anything else. Not just the temporary brand, but the brand of Wheels to Walking, but also showing our muscle, meaning that like we can approach any brand and be like, you see what we did with our clothing line? We can do that with your product. Like, we have successfully found a way to do this. But the reason why I say that was so successful is like you've heard the whole story of like person wins a lottery and then like the third cousin's brother's mom shows up and being like, hey, we haven't talked in 18 years, like I knew you when you were a baby, like let's be friends. This week, the past couple of days has been the fucking weirdest, because people I haven't talked to in over a decade, people that have been actively ignoring me are like calling me and sending me emails and leaving me voicemails and like.
I wonder if it's because they're getting targeted by your ads and you don't even realize that those people are necessarily getting targeted.
Oh no, I strategically targeted everyone who's ever engaged in any context on my Instagram or on my Facebook. And
you said people that are actively ignoring you.
Meaning like people that I've been like, hey, we should work together. Hey, we should work together. Hey, we should work together. Hey, I've got this really good idea. Like, hey, there's this one thing I'm working on. Like all these people that were like too busy to give me a second chance are like,
I see.
Hey, what's up? And I'm like, hey, you ignored me for too long. Like,
and you go, hey, we're gonna have a chill. We're gonna chill.
We're chilling. but it's been very strange because there's like a lot of people are like desperately like coming at me, and I was confused. I'm like, nothing has really changed around here. We've been doing the same consistent quality content. We've been doing podcasts. We've been doing videos. Like our only kind of like clout we have, and I guess it's decent clout, is like we got some magazine covers on some pretty decent sized publications. We won a Shorty Award, but we're not like rich. We're not like famous, you know. But I feel like this merch launch, we planned so well. We did so strategically, and it looked extremely professional.
Yeah.
Because it was extremely professional. And I think people looked at that and was like, oh, he's got management now, or like, oh, he's working with the agency now. Or
also they think like, oh, you've got a budget to spend money on ads.
But we've had a budget to build this the whole time.
I know, but I think it's just it's right in your face.
Yeah.
When they see it and they see it again and then they see it again. Because I mean, I got our targeted ads like 5 times.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I even somehow targeted myself. I don't even know how I pulled that off, but
who knows?
Yeah. But it was very.
Maybe it shows them to you on purpose so that you can kind of see what it looks like when you're.
I'm not mad at it. It was
cool.
That
it's working.
But I definitely think so. If you remember the episode we put out the podcast, the Dear Disability Community, where I pretty much, or Dear Disability Industry, where I pretty much like for an hour like yelled and bitched and screamed and let my ego take control a little bit and got a little arrogant, a little bit cocky, talking about some things. I remember the next day when I listened to that episode, I was like, fuck me, man. I was
off the rails.
I was a little off the rails. But what happened was this merch launch proved the points that I was trying to make. Like it proved the point. Like I did like all the thing, like even like when I'm like, you know, pay disabled people to do your work, or like Kahlo, like he got money to make that DJ mix for us. You know what I mean? Like,
you paid him?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
He's a disabled guy, and he's someone who like did work for us that we asked him to do, and so I was like, here's money. And for the clothing,
awesome.
For the clothing, we sent it out to I think like 25 people, and before I even sent it out to him, I was like, hey, just want to let you know we've got some stuff I want to send to you. Just because you're a dope person and I like you, no expectations.
It was like a PR list.
I was like, no expectations to post anything. And then like when the video went out, I sent him another message. I was like, hey, just want to let you know that you're allowed to post, because the first message was, hey, don't post until this date. And they're like, okay, good. I'm glad you told me. And the next message, I was like, hey, don't, like post. Or like you, by the way, like if you want to post about it, you can post about it.
Because the video's live, but don't feel any obligation.
No obligation. Like I just want you to have a dope shirt with a dope message. Like no obligation. Like do whatever you want. It's completely up to you. And then like the very last day, I sent another reminder. I was like, hey, just want to let you guys know today's like the very last day to get orders in. So if you are gonna post, today would be a great time. But again, no expectations, no pressure. I'm not gonna be mad. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's okay. And
it's temporary, mate.
Yeah. And I
doesn't matter.
Yeah, like a lot of people posted, and it was pretty cool. And I would love to find a way to figure out how to like. They basically only put like a picture on their story or like a quick video on their story. It was not like a dedicated upload. It was not an ad. It was not a commercial. So I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I needed to be like, oh, here's $10 to do this for us.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of weird. I don't know.
Here's the thing with PR lists and things like that. That's kind of how that works. Like when you're put on a PR list, like for example, Jeffree Star, he reviews makeup. all the top makeup brands have him on their PR list unless they have personal beef with him, and they just send him all their new stuff because they know that, number one, he can make content out of it, which is ultimately going to benefit him, and then number two, they want him to review their products so that it gets some more eyeballs. Like, that's typically how a PR system works. Like, when Casey Neistat would do mail time and he would just open up packages, none of those companies were paying him, but they were giving him free product, and there was no obligation to post about it. And that's the thing, is when you're sending someone something for free and you're saying, hey, there's no obligation to post about it, you know, if they did, you know, make some like badass whole video about it or something like that, I don't think that like Venmoing him like a couple $100 or something would be that out of the question. But well, I mean, if it's just a couple of posts or whatever, it's like, I mean, even I don't know if any of these influencers that were sending their stuff, like, I don't know if their fees are that big. Like, for example,
but they're also my friends too. They're
totally.
They're my homies. You know?
I think paying your friends is awesome. Like, you know, supporting your friends and paying your friends to do things, like, I think we should normalize that. But like, for example, in The Fifth Vital, the book Mike Majlak wrote, he talks about how like Logan Paul reached out to him and was like, hey, you know, I want to do something with Lovesack. He was working with Lovesack, and they said, hey, in exchange, we'll send you 3 beanbags in exchange for 1 Instagram post. And Logan said, my fees are normally much higher than what those 3 Lovesacks would cost, but because I like you and because I think we can do something together, I'll be willing to, like, you know, make that sacrifice or whatever. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, damn, I wonder what his fees were at that time, you know, because some of these creators, they can charge up to hundreds of thousands of dollars per post because they know what their power is. And I think, like, for example, I don't know if any of the people on our PR list are that powerful that their rates are like so stupid high. I'm not saying that they're not influential. But I'm just saying, like, it's not like it's not like typically they would charge, you know, $9,000 for an Instagram post, and we were kind of like encouraging them to do something they would pay money for.
This is what I think about. I don't know if it would be insulting to be like, hey, thanks for posting, here's $10 on a Venmo. You know, would that be insulting, or is that like a nod? But I think
it's also kind of disingenuous a little bit, because then it's like it's like when you pay someone to write an Amazon review. It's like, you should just write the review. You know what I mean?
I don't know, because I just think about what I was barking about. I was like, you know, send him free stuff and pay him, but it's like they didn't do like full on advertisement. They just did like a quick thing.
Well, it wasn't like they were going, hey, I'd love to advertise for the temporary collection, you know, let's work out a deal. And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll send you some free merch. Well, and that's it. I think, you know what I mean?
I think what I would like to do either this time or so, I don't even know.
Next time, what we need to do, here's how we can pay creators. Here's how we can pay wheelchair influencers. We do a photo shoot with a bunch of wheelchair influencers and pay them for the photo shoot and all that kind of stuff.
These people are all over the U.S.
I understand. We can send them a shirt and they can do a photo shoot with their person of choice. Like with their photographer, and we'll pay for their photographer's fee, and we'll pay them.
I think so. There's a way to do even like maybe like some type of like trackable link. Like if sales get through it, they get a discount, or like, I don't know. I just feel like I would like to find a way to somehow support
in the future.
Support the people that are supporting me, and not just be like,
here's free merch all the time.
Here's a free shirt. Take a picture of it, you know. And honestly, the return on investment was not as good as those Facebook ads. Those Facebook and Instagram ads fucking crushed.
Well, here's the thing with the Facebook ad.
They're responsible for almost like 70% of our sales.
Here's the thing with the Facebook ad. Yes, I think that the Facebook ads are a move, and we need to keep doing those. But we could have, instead of just running the same video as our ad, we could have taken some of those PR videos like that people sent back and use those as ads.
They weren't that good of quality.
That's what I'm saying.
They were literally,
but even if it was just a picture or whatever, like, I know I've seen, like, for example, like clickbait merch, like they'll have a carousel of photos of people wearing the merch as the ad. Like, it could have been like 3 pictures of wheelchair homies like in the merch.
Fine. I feel like I would be fine paying people if there was like a lot of effort put into the content around the merch. Like if someone like wore the shirt in a photo shoot and then made a post about it and wrote a caption about it, then I'd be like, oh yeah, that's dope. But people are like, oh, on my Instagram story, I'm taking a picture of it. And that's all I asked for. All I asked for was just a quick Instagram story. Like, hey, just do an Instagram story, tag me. You know, just do a be like, hey, this is a cool shirt, or like just take a picture of you wearing it, or even take a picture of it.
But like, why would they have any idea that you would like pay them? I think what you should do next time is approach people and say, hey, you know, I loved what you did last time. This time I'm thinking about trying to go a little bit more above and beyond with my influencer marketing. If I paid you $200, would you be willing to do this, and this? And they'd probably go, yeah, sure. I think that's how you approach influencer marketing versus a PR list. Like, it's different.
I mean, $200 times the amount of people, insane. No way. Like their rates wouldn't even they would be like $20.
I'm just
like,
throwing a ballpark
yeah.
number. I'm not saying to actually say this exact phrase to them. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, and then it's like even the ROI on the.
We wouldn't do it for 25 people. We would just do it for like 2.
Yeah, I just got to think about how I want to do it because like the influencer marketing versus social media marketing. The social media marketing was way more effective than the influencer marketing for sales.
Well, because we're already
for sales, but that doesn't necessarily mean for the brand.
Well, here's the reason why. It's because we already do influencer marketing. We don't need more. Like we're kind of like the biggest influencer that would sell the most temporary merch is you.
Me. Yep. It's me.
So I would say that we did do a lot of good influencer marketing, but it was just because it was us. I don't know.
I guess
I don't know if this
like,
is entertaining anymore, but yeah.
I don't know. We're in the weeds. But anyway.
But yeah, thanks for buying the merch. The merch is coming soon.
Thanks for buying the merch. It's coming soon. Super stoked about it. I'm super stoked with the fact that we got the fulfillment set up. I'm super stoked that we got the system set up. I'm super stoked that we've successfully sent it out. I'm super stoked that the ads worked out well. I'm super stoked that like the brand perception and like the wheels to walking perception. I'm fucking stoked on everything. Because you remember a couple weeks ago or last week, I don't remember. I was like, man, I got bad expectations about it. But once I kind of zoomed out and looked at my measuring sticks, like what I was using to measure the success, I was like, oh yeah, my measuring's wrong. Like that is something that we've accomplished, so that's a win. That's something we accomplished, that's a win. Even if we would have sold one shirt, that it would have all been a win because we were able to successfully complete all the other tasks and stuff like that. I thought it was dope. But yeah, I'm really interested in these strategies, like continuing to come up with strategies to move items and like
winning at strategies. We're good at WAS.
Yeah.
You know, it's another good thing, winning at priorities.
Or like whiskey and pipes.
Whiskey and pipes. Wheelchairs and pets.
Wheelchairs and prosthetics.
Wheelchairs and prosthetics. I like that. Also, water and Pepsi. And
how about washing machines and pepperoni?
What about wet ass pussy?
That too.
Richard, you have not seen the Wet Ass Pussy music video, correct?
But I know Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion are involved, and those two women put together be making some crazy shit.
There's some whores in this house.
Crazy curves.
I almost called them bitches, but I don't mean bitches in a negative term. I mean like them bitches is crazy. Like
I think they would probably refer to themselves as bitches, so I think it's okay.
Like in a good way, you know what I mean?
So there's been a lot of debate, news, whatever conversation around this new song called WAP or WAP or WAP, however you want to call it. It's a new song by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, and it stands for Wet Ass Pussy. And the best thing, so the music video is very raunchy. I told AJ to watch it, and I said, try not to vibe challenge. You were doing the try not to vibe challenge. I said, try not to get hard challenge to AJ.
And every paralyzed guy is like, done. I won. Easy.
But I didn't.
AJ failed. I also failed. It is a quite sexually.
It's quite challenging.
So here's the question.
Filled video.
I would imagine there's controversy around the fact that like they're talking about like how good their genitals are, right?
Yeah, I mean the lyrics are just extremely raunchy.
So why is it that it's okay for a guy to be like, I got a big fat cock and a big fat dick and a big fat wallet and I've, you know, like it's like
normally guy rappers are saying the same exact things that Cardi B and Megan are rapping about, but they're saying it about women versus women saying about my. That's the weird thing I think it's like leveling up.
It's empowerment almost.
Yeah, it's but that's the whole debate. It's like, really, this is empowerment, bragging about how much of a hoe you are, blah blah blah. Women need to have better role models, blah 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 blah. Whatever, we can discuss that.
Conservatism.
But the thing is, at the end of the day, is Lil Wayne has been singing about wet ass pussy since fucking 2000
since like the Carter
2000. Yeah, like rappers. I mean, 2 Chainz has been singing about this type of stuff. Like so many rappers have been singing about this same exact stuff, but because it's women singing it about themselves, because that was always the problem about rap.
It was always money, pussy, weed, right?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
was always it was like that is what makes. That's why a lot of people are like, I don't like modern rap. All they do is talk about cars and money and pussy.
They
and
wanna
weed.
lick it like a lollipop.
Right.
like literally every rap song. And the thing is people were always, they were like, well, rap is objectifying women, blah, blah, blah. And now that women are objectifying themselves, people are like, I don't know what to do anymore. Cause it's like, is it okay if it's not cool if men are objectifying women, but if women are objectifying themselves, then some people are like, you go queen. And some people are like, no, we shouldn't be objectifying women at all.
I don't know. I think,
and you are taking us down a peg, blah, 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 blah.
It is a woman's right to do whatever the fuck she wants to do with her body at any point for any reason under any context. Like,
agreed. As long as it's not hurting anyone.
I'm even of the idea of like, yo, let's make prostitution legal and safe. You know,
I mean, we talked about this too.
That's like, look at what they're doing in Australia. You know, like it's working.
So,
it's working out well.
Yes, and I just want to say that the best thing that I think to come out of all of this is Ben Shapiro reading the lyrics of the song
that is
on his radio show. And then one of the best memesters around, Grande, edited the lyrics to the song. So let's go ahead and play that. We'll put it on the screen.
AJ, this is my first time. This is my first time seeing it.
AJ, are you ready?
Grande is like PewDiePie's meme master. Like,
yeah, here we go.
Whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. I said certified freak. 7 days a week. Wet ass P word. Make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, you effing with some wet ass P word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. Give me everything you've got for this wet ass P word. Beat it up, N-word, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I wanna ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P word is wet, come take a dive. It continues along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like, a lot more vulgar.
Richard, your face
I haven't
is
heard
priceless right now.
I haven't even heard the original song, and
You only heard the-
I'm just listening. I've literally not heard.
Oh,
the original.
you haven't even heard the song?
Not the music video, not the song.
shit.
No, this is my first. This is my
I
first
thought you'd heard the
exposure
song.
to
My
it.
bad.
No, I've heard
Yeah,
nothing.
that's the words. That's the lyrics, and Ben Shapiro just kills it. Absolutely kills
I like he's
it.
like P word,
He
N
said
word,
ass.
B word.
He says ass, but he doesn't. He goes, you are effing with some wet ass P word. Like he'll say ass, but he doesn't say pussy, and he won't say anything else.
I think
really.
there's probably something like maybe they
He's
say
like,
ass in the Bible or something.
bring
I don't
a
know.
bucket and a mop for this wet ass P word. And and later on in this little radio show thing, he's like, my wife happens to be a doctor, and I asked her about this, and it's really interesting that they would say this because any sort of vaginal wetness that would require a bucket and a mop is obviously a gynecological problem. This is he's like taking it so literally, and it's like they're not saying that they're literally dripping so much you need a bucket and a mop. They're just saying that their pussy's super wet. Like the lyrics are exaggerated, obviously.
I think in the same.
That's like literally in a song, Lil Wayne says his dick is the size of Eiffel Tower, so I'ma fuck the world for 72 hours.
Yeah, that's Kendrick.
Kendrick says that. Sorry, not Lil Wayne. You think Kendrick Lamar's penis is the size of the Eiffel Tower? No.
Yeah,
it's a song.
That's the whole thing. That it's like
I'm concerned about their genitals. If their pussies are that wet, if they need a bucket and a mop.
So I think about all
Such
of the things that men rap about in their music is usually twofold. It's one, to impress men, and two, to impress women. They want to get women, so they talk about all these things. I think these female rappers, these women like Cardi and Megan, are deciding, they're like, you know what, we're gonna start bragging about things that dudes want. That women want to be like us, and dudes want to fuck us. In the same way that guys are like, guys want to be like us, and girls want to fuck us. It's the same game, but the reason it's controversial is because a woman's doing it instead of a guy doing it.
Yeah, and one of the best tweets that came out of this was there was like a senator or somebody that was like in the government or something. He came out and said something like, he was like, there's this song called WAP that I accidentally listened to this week or whatever. And it was like, dude, accidentally listened to? Just say you listened to it. Don't say accident. I accidentally listened to the song, and I have to say it's a disgrace. Why do you have to say you accidentally listened to it?
So there's this place in Atlanta, one of my favorite ice cream places called Jenny's Ice Cream, and I fuck heavy with Jenny's Ice Cream, and they put out a tweet that said, "Tell your parents WAP stands for whiskey and pecans."
That's funny.
'Cause I guess that's a flavor that they have. So and the title is "Don't Google it."
Yeah. No, the funny thing was someone on this Facebook group that I was in thought it meant something else. And they were constructing this whole argument about it, and it's like, you fucking dumbasses, it means wet ass pussy. Your whole argument is invalid. But you know what's funny? I was hanging out with my friend Nicole yesterday, and we were talking about it. And in the version on YouTube with the music video, they don't say wet ass pussy, they say wet and gushy. Because I think pussy would like get them like demonetized or censored or something. Like, I don't know if you can say pussy on YouTube so many times.
Radio plays.
And the radio
plays.
Exactly.
They want a record.
The song is wet and gushy, which is almost like...
You want to come over for this wet and gushy.
And it's almost grosser. Like, it's almost more vulgar to say wet and gushy. It's like, ooh, gushy. Ooh. Like, pussy just sounds like normal to me. I don't know. But yeah, wet and gushy. And then we were walking, we were taking a walk, and we were talking about it. And then I was saying something, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I just realized what WAP stands for." And I'm like, "You just realized it?" And she goes, "Yeah, well, in the song that I saw, it didn't say that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. But I just thought it was hilarious. But yeah, we were talking about it, and it's like, I think this is like, it's leveling up. It's definitely one of those like watershed moments where it just pushes everything forward one more level.
I've got something that I thought about when you were telling me about how for like radio and YouTube, they've made it wet and gushy, but like the explicit version is wet ass pussy. Yeah. And I think about how you and I are very much about like, hey, people, don't tell us what to do. Like any deal, any brand, any sponsor, anything we do with anyone, they're like, you need to monitor your language. We're like, and go fuck yourself. Like, no. And it's like, if the two most vulgar rapper women in the entire world are willing to edit themselves for the like record an entire new song, like they were in the booth in the studio, they had to re-sing the lyrics.
Well, what is their priority? What's their priority?
It's the label's priority, honestly. First of all, it's the label's priority to get a radio song and a YouTube song that makes them money. It's a label's priority. So. But what's okay, whatever. What's the priority? The priority is to make money and to get more radio plays and like get a #1 single or something. You can't really. I don't know if you'd be. It's it's like the compromise of like, we could put 3 F words in this movie and it will be rated R, but if we just cut one of them and only have 2, then it's PG-13. It's probably going to do way better in the box office. Fine. I think PG-13s get 1 F word.
2. AJ 2. Confirmed. AJ's a movie buff.
Movie guy.
Because I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because
they can't show boobs in PG-13, can they? No.
I don't think you can show boobs.
Because then it'd be nudity, and that's under the
You can show a butt, though, I think, right?
Yeah, pretty sure you can.
Yeah. That's a weird line. I remember there was a certain movie that it was only rated R because it's had 3 F words, but the director was like not going to budge on it. He's like, no, I want the F word in it. It's pretty funny. Anyways.
Like when he's writing the script, it was like real strategic. It was like
I guess he was just like, no, I'm not gonna. They're like, well, if you just cut this 1 F word, like we could probably do way better. And he's like, nah,
right. Well,
I want to do it my way.
But you were saying about how like the goal was to make money, and one of the parts of Wheels to Walking is that this is a career for me, along with also. Well,
I was saying that I wasn't saying that the #1 thing was to make money. It was the #1 thing is to get a #1 single.
Right.
Like, money, but also #1 single, like it would be Billboard plays, would be radio plays, all that factors in, and you're not going to get radio plays if you're saying pussy.
Correct. But let me just finish
or even
point.
ass. I don't know.
So it's like, it's to help the community and to make a career out of this for myself. It's twofold.
Yeah.
And I still want to do what I want to do. I still want to say what I want to say. We've obviously on the main channel, we used to cuss. Now we kind of like, we don't like, we bleep them sometimes, but other times we just cut the audio. So it's like, it's like, are we potentially fucking with our own money? I mean, obviously not in podcast land.
Yeah, I think short term.
Podcast land is a different thing. It's like, in the short term we could be fucking with our money, but also in the long term, it's like, I don't know, dude. I dig authenticity a lot. Like I really fuck with the idea of authenticity. Like even like the Gary Vee approach where he's like, I'll cuss in front of my kids. I'll cuss in front of my clients. I cuss on the internet.
The thing is I look at a lot of successful podcasts, and the podcasts that I listen to, I don't like it when podcasts are self-censoring. Like it actively pisses me off. I don't want to listen to them.
I'm in no way suggesting anything about this podcast. I know. I'm just saying on the main channel, it's like,
well, we've already made that decision on the main channel.
I know. I just think about it because it's like if people like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, like if those two people are like, you know what, we'll sing a different verse for the, they're
playing in a different world though. They're still playing in radio world. Like unfortunately, like Spotify doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, because radio is the equivalent of TV for us. Like if people were like if we were on Discovery Channel or History Channel, we're on Wheels to Walking Channel. By the way,
and also you got the other weird thing about music that, I thought about this a lot when I was a kid. I was like, because I had songs that I wanted to listen to, but my parents wouldn't let me listen to them.
Because they were explicit.
And they were explicit or whatever. And I was like, why do artists make songs that are explicit? Why wouldn't they just make it so everyone could listen to it? They'd get more plays and money. But it's like, now I realize it's like, because like, fuck them kids. Like,
but I tell you what though,
I don't care if kids are listening to my music or not.
Explicit lyrics drive me crazy. It's like especially when they bleep it or if they like cut the audio on it. It's like I know what they said. I know like when I got mad at the pizza, I was like fucking bitch. But you like bleeped it out and just beep deep. Like people know what people know what the fuck I said. Like people like. You'd have to be a dummy not to.
Did you hear what I fucking said?
Right, like people like I just get so mad at that, and then so I would only buy like explicit stuff. My when I was shopping for CDs, I was always looking for the
parental advisory.
Yeah, the parental advisory, which is so fun. That's a totally like a Nancy Reagan thing, like.
Yeah, I don't know.
We need to save these kids and tell people there's cuss words on this album.
I get the parental advisory because then it makes it easier for parents. Because then parents can go, oh, it's got the thing. No, you can't listen to it yet. You know what I mean? Like,
but that goes back to all the way to like the sheltering of kids. Like, it's a word.
Yeah, but also
it's a
but
word.
Also there are things that kids should be fucking sheltered from, like 100%. Like it's not necessarily the word; it's about what they're rapping about. Like if they're just saying fuck, like okay, fine. But are they talking about fucking pussy and they're talking about doing drugs and gangbanging and shooting people and killing people? Like
it normalizes
that's not very appropriate.
It normalizes
for kids.
Bad stuff. Yeah,
it's like it normalizes like arguably very bad things. Like there's a reason why. You wouldn't let a 5-year-old play Grand Theft Auto. Like you just probably shouldn't. Like more power to you if you want to let your 5-year-old play Grand Theft Auto and you teach them a lesson about like, why these things are bad and why it's fun to just play it in a video game, but you shouldn't do it in real life. I think there's a valuable lesson there, but I don't know if at 5 years old, that's the appropriate age for that. I think that's, you got to play it by ear based on your style of parenting, but like there's a reason why the parental advisory thing is on there, not just for language, I think. I think language is a factor of it, but it's like reasons why games are rated M and things like that. It's like there's movies are rated R. Like, I understand that currently if kids want to seek things out, they're going to find it anyways. But I think the parental advisory type things are typically more for the parents so that they can easily just glance at something and know that like, oh, they're even warning me that I probably shouldn't let my kid listen to this. Like, I'm not going to let my kid listen to it or whatever. You know what I mean? Just making things easier on the parents. But yeah,
it's easily quick identifiable.
It is very
thing.
funny. But here's the thing: like all these parents are talking about how like Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B, they need to be better role models. They never asked to be fucking role models.
Cardi B,
they're self-proclaimed whores.
Retired from stripping to rap. Like.
Yeah, they're literally in the background beat of the song is "There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house." Like that's why Ben Shapiro was saying that. Like literally the background vocal of the entire song is a guy saying "There's some whores in this house." They're calling themselves whores in the song. Like they are self-proclaimed whores, which is fine, taking back the power of a word that typically is used to demean people or whatever, like, taking back the word slut or bitch or whatever. Like, I'm more power to you on all of that. But it's like, yo, if you are allowing your kids to have Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion be their role models, that's the real problem rather than like, these women need to act different and these women, no. You need to be better at policing what your kids are watching. And I understand that it's very hard in the age of the internet to completely monitor everything your kids are watching. But That's just the world we live in, and those are just the circumstances that we're under. I mean, it's the same thing as like, you know, these porn stars need to be more respectful and not do porn. It's like, why? Because my kid can watch it. Well, why can your kid watch it? Like, you need to be a better parent, not the other way around. Like, you know, instead of like policing other people, you got to understand how to police yourself and understand your own things. Like, alcohol should be banned because I'm an alcoholic, and if I even have a sip of alcohol, if I'm tempted, I'm gonna relapse. And it's like, okay, but these other people like aren't alcoholics, and they don't have a problem with having a couple beers.
It's personal responsibility.
It's governmental paternalism that is like the problem. You know, it's like when the government steps in and is like, you shouldn't do this. Like, that's where there's such a weird double standard. But we both been reading The Fifth Vital, kind of speaking of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
very good.
I'm only a couple chapters in, if that. I mean,
listening to it, right?
30, 45 minutes in.
I just finished it yesterday. It was really good.
I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. Like I like Mike. I like the.
I think we should probably give a quick summary. I think we kind of grazed over it earlier, but
yeah.
Fifth Vital is a book by Mike Majlak, all about his rise from being a drug dealer and a drug addict and all that into being a very successful social media personality and like right-hand man to Logan Paul.
Yeah, but this book so far, what I understand, is an expose on the opioid epidemic.
Oh, 100%, but it's also an autobiography.
It's a memoir. It's an autobiography. It's cool.
The last 6 or 7 chapters are about after he achieves sobriety. Like, so it's not just about it, but the main bulk of the book is definitely about the opioid epidemic, and the Fifth Vital is
the measurement of pain.
The measurement of pain, exactly.
So it's like your temperature is a vital sign, your blood pressure is a vital sign. Like, there's multiple different types of vital sign, but pain is one of them. But the problem with pain is it's unmeasurable. You can't measure pain. You just have to, like, there's no way to quantify and measure pain. And also,
it's only self-reported.
Yeah, and there's a false pretense of like 0 to 10, like on the pain scale, says that there is such a thing as zero pain, and that doesn't exist. Like zero pain does not exist.
Because there's always some level of discomfort just being a human.
Mm-hmm. Pain, a zero. It says like, oh, look, you can get to a 0. There's a reason why they call it.
What would be a 0? Because like I would say like
managed. So there's a reason why they call it pain management and not pain elimination.
But
you cannot eliminate pain. You can only manage pain.
But I don't think right now I'm experiencing pain. Maybe I'm experiencing a little bit of discomfort. But is that pain? Is discomfort just like the mildest form of pain?
Pain isn't always physical. It can be mentally, it can be emotionally, it can be spiritual, it can be physical.
I would say physical pain then.
Physical pain, well, you're a fully able-bodied young guy. You know, you probably don't experience a lot of pain.
But could I be at a 0 then? Like if I was like a 5-year-old, could I be at a 0?
I mean, you still get body aches. You still,
from time to time, but like currently right now, I'm not experiencing any pain.
You get muscle soreness. You get mild discomforts. You know, you got like life. Being a human is pain. Like it's like pain and suffering is a part of the human experience, and everyone experiences pain and suffering on some level, on some extent. Yeah. You know, even if you wake up really tired with a headache, and you're like, that's pain. You know what I mean? Like,
no, for sure. But I'm just saying, like sitting right now, like. You know, like if I really was to analyze my body, I would say like I've got some discomfort and some muscle soreness in my abs because I did abs a couple days ago and I typically don't do that or whatever. But if I hadn't have done that, you know, maybe my butt's a little bit uncomfortable sitting in this chair for a long time. Like, but it wouldn't be pain necessarily.
Maybe I only just know. I think about pre-disabled life and
because currently you never don't have pain.
0 doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I would say the lowest I get on average is a 3 or a 4. And that's enough to where it doesn't distract me. Yeah. My biggest issue with pain is like between 3 and 6, I can manage because it's
because of 3-6 Mafia.
Yes, 3-6 Mafia, juicy. So I because it doesn't distract me. Over 6 gets distracting, and then over 8 is debilitating, and 10 is you can't even move.
Are you experiencing pain right now?
I'm always experiencing it, always. Like, and it would.
What is it right now?
I mean, it would take me forever to go through it. Like, I would have to go. There's
just like a lot of things going on.
Yeah. So, like, ever been camping before?
Yeah.
I never carried a backpack.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when you're packing, you're like, oh, well, this doesn't weigh that much, and you throw it in the bag, and you're like, oh, well, that's too much, and then you throw it in the bag, and you're like, oh, what's this? What, a couple of ounces, and you throw it in the bag, and before you know it, you have a 10-pound backpack because you've added a bunch of little things. So a bunch of littles make a lot. So I'm experiencing a compounded of a lot of little things, and it changes by the hour, it changes by the day, changes.
And you've got a lot of fucking hardware. You've got a lot of metal in your body.
Exactly. It changes by the weather. It changes depending on like what time my medication doses. It depends on showering. It depends on or like sleeping, on activities. Like it's like, well, what type of pain are we talking about here? You know, like it's just.
Yeah,
it would literally like if I get like I would take you like
and you have nerve damage, so like literally your body is sending you a pain response
panic
that's
signal.
not really necessarily valid in all circumstances.
But as long as
your body's like, there's something fucking wrong down here. It's like, yeah, we know I fell 50 feet and got hit by a car earlier this year. Like, I know that, but thanks body.
As long as it's
thanks for letting me know.
As long as it's managed. And as long as I can keep myself active enough to distract myself from it, I'm good. Which is sometimes why you'll see me some days like just non-stopping, go all day because I'm trying to out distract my pain.
And sometimes you take one of these, you're like, sorry, I'm just having a moment or whatever.
Oh
like,
no, bro! Like
I
will like Jalila sees it. You and Jalila see it more than anything else. Where for anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds, I'll just stop breathing and I'll just stay still. And then I'll go, like, I would, because the thing about pain is, let me pull up this little quote. So, like, pain is something that, like, people that are in chronic pain all the time, the challenge is that you have to, like, live a normal life. Like, you can't just be, like, rolling around on the floor all day,
you gotta learn to manage it.
All right, so here you go. So
without love, pain.
Chronic pain patients hide it so well. You can't go by how they look on the outside. They have to learn how to function with pain. You can't just roll around on the floor all day screaming in agony. Medical professionals and hospitals don't even realize this. A chronic pain patient can function with a pain level that would incapacitate any other person. And I've told
chronic pain means you have pain all the time.
Yeah,
chronically,
it is chronically
forever.
Yeah, and I think about that like. There's days that I'll wake up and I'm like, bruh, any other regular person would be in the ER right now. Like,
for sure.
And then I have to get up and do a whole day. I have to shower, I have to eat, I have to go to the gym, I have to get my work done. I can't stop my fucking life. I got to keep going. But I'll wake up and I was like, oh, was I hit by a truck last night? Are my legs on fire? Is someone hitting me with a taser right now? Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's also that, I mean, humans are extremely adaptable too. Like, you know, you gotta like if I'm experiencing like a 1 or a 2 on a pain level every single day, and then all of a sudden I get hit by like a 7, I'm like, what the fuck? I just went up like 6 levels. But if like your normal is like 3 or 4, and then one day you get a 7 or whatever, it's like, number one, you've experienced those so many times that it's like, I know I can do this. And also like number 2, it's like your baseline is already like decently bad, and you've learned to manage and deal with that. So going up to these higher levels, like you've done it before, and it's not as many, it's not so drastic to, like you said, like to a normal person. If all of a sudden, like, have you seen that Black Mirror episode where the doctor figures out a way to transmit the pain of his patients to himself?
No.
It's actually really interesting.
Oh, to like he turns it into like a sexual thing.
It's in the episode called Black Museum. Isn't it that episode?
It's the Black Museum, yeah, and he's like telling the story about like a piece in the museum, and it goes like this.
It's this headset that he can put on. This doctor puts on this headset
so he can better understand his patient.
He can literally understand the pain of childbirth or anything.
That'd be cool.
He puts these little nodes or something on the patient, and he puts a headset on, and he can feel the exact pain that the patient is feeling. Does it take the pain away from the patient, or does it just transmit the pain? I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
But either way,
yeah.
So because basically, I mean, just like we were talking about earlier with VR, like pain is your brain sending you a signal.
Well, pain
is not a physical thing.
Pain is also relative too.
Yeah, but anyways, the point of what I'm bringing up the episode is that this guy basically, he can put on the pain and then he can assess his patient. So if you say, oh, I'm at a 9, doc, I'm at a 9. I need those oxys. He can put it on and be like, bitch, you're at a 2. Like I've, so he can like actually assess, because like we were saying, pain is all relative. So if there's a doctor that can actually put on something, and I won't spoil the episode, but it's a really good episode, and you should go listen. You should go watch it. Black Museum. It's one of my favorites. But yeah.
Yeah, I think about like my pain, like static on a TV. So if you're at a party, or like you're like at a grocery store, you're hanging out with friends and family, laughing, having a good time. If there's a TV in the corner that has static playing and it's turned up all the way, you probably won't even hear it. But the second you're like alone at night in bed, that is the loudest thing in the entire world is a static TV turned up to 100. So what you have to do is you have to figure out how to that static TV volume is never going to be down off all the way, but you have to figure out how to turn it down to between 3 and 5, or you have to find a way to make sure you can't hear it, or like you can't, like you have distracted your way through it. Like my pain management video, that the last half of it, I talk about working out, I talk about meditation, I talk about staying active, I talk about new environments, I talk, like it's like do like all the things that your body is screaming at you to not do. You have to do them anyway, just so you like kind of ignore the little demon in the room. But
totally,
like it's a constant like but sometimes it'll go and sometimes it'll be so loud I'm not going to yell into the mic right now, but like right
Thank you.
Like there's been moments where I've like had the podcast and I've shown them like guys, I'm rough today, but because I'm focusing on the podcast, I'm focusing on talking, I'm focusing on you guys, like I've found a way to not turn the static down, but I've found a way to turn my life up. Turn the volume up.
That's good.
And I do that at the gym sometimes. Like some of the days that like I'm hurting the most, if I go to the gym and I do a 30-minute workout and just blast my body so hard and like listen to like hardcore music, that my muscles are so sore and my body is so tired that I ain't got time to fucking react to the pain I have, because the pain is just quieter now. It's a quieter pain.
Totally.
It's temporary.
It's temporary, mate.
Seriously, it's fucking, yeah.
So the fifth vital, is pain. And during the opioid epidemic, they were just slinging oxys to everyone. Like,
well, the
literally.
thing about, so Purdue Pharma marketed oxys as a non-addictive alternative to opiates, but it was an opiate and it was extremely addictive. So it was very,
and this is something that you personally have dealt with and were addicted to. Not just because you never went streets, like the pharmacy and the doctor was your dealer.
My doctors were my drug dealers. Yeah, absolutely. And I had multiple doctors and multiple pharmacies and I never went to street drugs, but I did all the drugs.
And it wouldn't have been that crazy to make that jump if you had to at some point. Like
I thought about it often, and I had connections, and I just didn't want to do it.
Were you snorting them or just eating the pills?
I would either eat them, I would either chew them. Occasionally, I would snort them, depending on what it was. And then,
so I know at one point he was saying that they made, like Purdue Pharma, made them non-crushable or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They tried to modify, but there's ways around it.
Yeah. And it was harder to get and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And then, I just never wanted to go intravenous. I never wanted to shoot up, and if you use heroin, you can snort it, but that's wasting half of it. Basically.
But yeah, you're only like a couple chapters into the fifth vital, but it when I was listening to it, it really did remind me of reading the Untold Story in certain ways, for sure.
It's fucked, man.
So if you've read the Untold Story of Richard, I would definitely recommend reading the fifth vital or listening to it actually, because I love audio.
Audiobook,
if you're listening to a podcast, you'll love audiobooks. It's read by Mike, the author. So I would definitely encourage you to buy it on Audible. It's really good, and as Richard is reading it, I think it'd be kind of fun if everyone listens to it too. That'd be kind of cool. We can talk about it.
Yeah, I know for listening to it so far has not been difficult or traumatic, because his story is very different from my story, but our experience and our emotions around addiction and mental health are very, very similar. So
there's a lot that aligns.
So our stories are different.
How you got to that point is different.
Yeah.
The beginning, but I would say talking about the withdrawals and the fiending and the friends dying and all kinds of shit.
The reason I fuck with Mike so much is he's literally someone I would hang out with in the 12-step rooms. Someone I would be smoking cigarettes with before the meeting, smoking cigarettes after the meeting, going to get dinner with. He would have been in my sponsorship group or some shit. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I fuck obviously not, but I'm just saying that's the kind of people I fuck with. I fuck with broken, traumatized people that have turned their life around, because that's who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I fuck with people who've been through shit because it's like we relate on a deeper level. Like that's how Ian and I became friends. Like fucking that dude, because like we had a lot of similar experiences. His was with like an eating disorder or whatever. But
yeah,
like
which is crazy looking at him now. Same with you. You know, like you wouldn't ever know. Same with Mike. Like there's a lot of crazy comeback stories. Like Kim Kardashian's.
Don't call it a comeback.
Don't come on my back, please. That would be unfortunate. But anyways, yeah, Fifth Vital. Go get it. It's on Audible. It's on Amazon. Whatever. Read it. Listen to it. We definitely support Mike and what he's doing, because honestly, like that book, I really do think like can change people's lives, because it shows like not only can you like overcome addiction and stuff, but like you can become like super successful and live this crazy ass life and like lose weight, get fit,
Sound familiar?
Literally, it is, that's what I'm saying. Like it is very, very similar to your story, like in so many ways.
That's why I like Mike so much. Is because I this is how I see Mike. I see Mike as myself, but just like he's like 10 years advanced.
Yeah.
He's like,
well, he's what, 35?
38.
Really? Damn.
Yeah.
He's 38?
Maybe not.
He graduated high school in 2003.
So I would have graduated.
He's 10 years older than me.
So he's 35 or 36. Yeah.
He's like 35. Yeah.
So anyway, he's just more advanced than I am professionally. And like, it would be two thoughts. Dream come true would be to somehow get some type of private consultation from Mike. Because the same way that he kind of really took over and helped Logan's brand / Maverick, I would love for him to come in and help with Wheels to Walking / Temporary. Like totally. Like have him, like he's got experience, we've got relatability, he's cool. Like I would love to find some type of like, I almost want to send him a DM and be like, hey man, do you offer private coaching like or consultation? Like, like I'll get you on the phone for an hour once a week and I'll pay you this amount of money or whatever, like. But then there's also another thought of me that's like,
I'm sure he gets that all the time from very big people.
Exactly. So I mean, I'm not even gonna. It's just like I said, it's a dream. It's a fantasy. It's whatever. But one thing I've been thinking about a lot is like, and this book has kind of inspired me, is like, since I started, everyone was like, you need to write a book. 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 And I was like, no, later. Later. Like I haven't accomplished enough. I haven't done enough. I'm not completed enough. I'm not old enough. Like, no, I'm busy. Like I'm making videos. Like no book. And I wrote The Untold Story. And honestly, that was some of the most difficult writing I've ever had in my entire life. Like, so I'm afraid of writing a book. I'll be honest. I'm terrified.
Well, if you were just writing it by yourself, yeah, but you would have someone that would be sitting there like helping you write it.
Exactly. I would only want to do it with a ghostwriter, because I know,
not a ghostwriter, just a writer. Like on his book, Riley J. Ford is credited as an author. It's not a ghostwriter. Like. But ghost means they don't exist on the credits.
A co-author.
Yeah.
Thank you. But anyway, so it need a co-author, a ghostwriter. I don't know what they call it, but like,
yeah,
someone to help me do it. And then also
Gary Vee has never typed any of his books, and he's written like 7 books. He just talks to an author and they write the whole book for him.
That's how I would want to do it.
Exactly.
And then
you just gotta have them,
and then I think about
do it.
I've been thinking a lot about like my story and how through Wheels to Walking, through the videos and the Untold Story, you guys get little clips and little segments and little this and a little bit of that and little taste. Just like Mike was talking about, he's like, yeah, a lot of people kind of know my story, but no one really knows. Like,
no one knows the full thing.
And I'm like, damn, maybe I do need to like think about the potential for a book.
No, eventually, I think you definitely should, but not right now.
Oh, I have no interest in it now. Like I don't know. I just feel like
you definitely. I like would be surprised if you don't.
Like I literally think like a book,
or at least like a Netflix movie or something.
A book and a movie for sure, but just not now. Like I don't think I've earned it. I don't deserve it. Like I don't think I've accomplished enough.
Yeah, and I think Mike probably wrestled with that too. He's probably like, I'm not Logan Paul. I'm like in Logan Paul's shadow, kind of like I've done a lot, but I haven't like done so much. Like I'm whatever. But I think he was like, it's time. I've been writing this book for so long. I'm at a good place where I could write us because you can always write an addendum. You can always write like a second version. Like for example, Tim Ferriss wrote the 4 Hour Work Week like a long time ago, and then he wrote he came out with like the 4-Hour Work Week extended edition or whatever, where it basically had the same book, but it was adapted a little bit for the more current times and added a bunch of stories of people that had successfully done the 4-Hour Work Week. You know, you can like you can do like a second release that has like an updated
Jordan Peterson's Maps of Meaning took him 15 years. Like,
Damn.
Like you can take a long time. Like Mike,
I always wonder when people say like, I've been writing this book for 15 years. It's like, does that mean that like all the experiences and things like took that long? Or were you like actively like you started like on 15 years ago writing to, you know, blah, 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 blah. I always wonder about that.
I think pen to paper started 15 years ago or whatever.
I don't have any reason to doubt it. Like, I always just think it's funny. It's like some people are like, this movie's been 25 years in the making. It's like, well, were you working on it every single day?
No,
or like, did
no
you come
way.
up with a concept? Like
you have to wrestle
same
with
thing with
it.
like Avatar.
You're wrestling
you know, like
with
James
it.
Cameron, like he came up with the concept for Avatar in 1999. It was 20 years in the making or whatever the fuck.
I think it has to do with wrestling. Like I think about how much I had to wrestle with the Untold Story, and that's 4 emails. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
That's a
Think a lot about wrestling too, like The Rock and The Undertaker. And
it's like
stuff.
wrestling with your demons and wrestling with your past. Anyway, but I think definitely it's
And the Riddler.
It's something, dude. By the way, Fred, I love you, bro. You too. Everyone's making fun of me for not catching that Riddler joke. I was too busy thinking about some guy in a suit with question
that
marks.
was really funny.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but yeah, dude. Like, I definitely have to. Eventually, I want to do stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly, the first thing is I'm afraid of it.
Yeah.
And Mike's been working on this book for 2+ years because at one part in the very beginning,
I think he said longer.
At the very beginning of the book, he talks about being 8 years clean, and he already celebrated 10 years like a month or 2 ago. So it's like definitely 2 years.
But when you write a book, you don't like write the intro and then you go, I'm never changing that. He definitely changed things because like you've been writing the book for 2 years, but there's things that you would go back and change at the beginning. So maybe he's 8 years clean, but maybe there was a point where he did something, so he just technically says 8, but like 10 years since he first got clean or whatever. I don't know. I don't think that he would go, well, when I wrote the first chapter, it was 8, so I'm going to write 8 now. But like, because if you listen to the end, like he talks about like dating Lana, which happened like this year.
I agree. I just know there's one point where he was like, something, been clean 8 years. But then he also talks about how he's got a YouTube channel with millions of views, and I'm like, that's recent. Like that's the most recent.
Yeah. So why would he? Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's like a mixture of both.
I mean, probably.
I don't know.
But I'm just saying, like he's been writing.
There's a lot of things where that's why having
time.
the author helps because they're combing over the whole thing and making sure everything's like accurate at the time of like.
Yeah. Not only that is that's honestly.
Release.
What I would like, this might sound silly, but with the perfect situation would be something like this. It's like I sit in a room with an author and a therapist, and because I'm gonna need fucking therapy for this, dead ass. And for 10 sessions, for 10 hours, I just sit there and fucking talk to this therapist, and the author's right there just listening in, recording, writing, whatever. And then like I don't know, I just know how much I fucking struggled with writing The Untold Story. It's so bad, I don't even want to read it right now. I have a hard time, even right now, I have a hard time going back and rereading it and looking.
Yeah, because you've already
over it.
addressed all that trauma and like packaged it away.
Yeah, that was the whole thing about it, is like writing The Untold Story required me to go into the closet of my mind and unpack all of the bullshit I'd already packed away in therapy and never wanted to think about again, for the sake of like writing it, and then I've had to pack it away again, and now even the thought of being like, you mean I gotta fucking unpack this shit again?
Yeah.
Like I've done this so many times, like with more, not just with a therapist, but also like with a sponsor, and then also like in the rooms of NA, and then also with a bunch of friends, and then like I've documented an Untold Story and like podcasts with you on your show, and like podcasts here and behind the scenes. I'm like, I'm just so fucking done talking about it, but I do realize that
That's the power of it.
I am very misunderstood. I can tell just by the way people treat me and talk to me, in the comments and stuff, that I'm like, people don't know who I.
Dude, people are shitting on the cooking video.
It's like people think I'm just this, and I've been this the whole time. It's like they don't know 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago. They don't know any of that, and unless they've read The Untold Story, and even then, that's skimming. That's skimming over
A lot.
A lot, you know. So it's like I don't know. I've recently been getting really frustrated at people like.
Well, I think
I'm like, do you not know who I am? Do you not know what I've been through? And then in my head, I'm like, they don't, and that's fine, you know. But I just get annoyed.
Yeah.
I just get annoyed at like how people treat me sometimes and how people talk to me and like I'm like, like I mean I don't say this but in my head I'm like, who the fuck do you think I am? Like what is this? Like what is this shit?
Like what do you mean when they talk?
I mean
like,
I can't think of specifics, but it's just like
they treat you disrespectfully or whatever.
There's a certain way people will treat you, whether in person, whether online, whatever. And you can tell by the way they treat you, they have a certain perspective of you or a certain view of you. And it's like, you're acting wrong right now. Like you're acting very wrong right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
Well, that's like kind of the thing. Like, you ever seen that clip of the black lady talking to that radio host? And she goes, well, that's because of your white privilege, Don, or whatever his name is. And he goes, I'm going to have to stop you there. And she goes, no, I'm blah, blah, blah. And she goes on about white privilege. She goes, I'm going to have to stop you there, Don, because you apparently didn't do your research. I'm black.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. It's just like, bum, 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 well, anyways, Richard, I think that you deserve some therapy right now. And I think the best kind of therapy that you can get right now is retail therapy.
Ooh, shopping therapy?
Yeah.
Dude,
so I think
this is
I'm
perfect.
I'm gonna bless the audience real quick with a little quick video of the kicks I'm wearing today.
wow.
So they are
Show them off real quick, just for us, real quick. You'll see the video of this, but
so they
okay.
are Yeezy 350 V2s.
wow.
Okay.
What is
They
the?
are- they
Do
are
you know what the
reflective.
colorway is?
I don't know what any of that means. All right.
They
It's
are the.
reflective and it's just a nice shoe.
What's the
So
retail value on those? Or what's the StockX?
Yeah, the
What's the
resale,
StockX?
the resale.
The resale. Like 400, 500, 600?
something like that. I haven't checked.
Somewhere in the ballpark of expensive for shoes.
We are going to
Me sitting here with my $60 2-year-old Vans that I've been rocking. You got new shoes, didn't you?
That's why I kind of brought it up. I've had to tie them like 9 times during this podcast, but that's just the nature of these laces. But yeah, while AJ is delivering these, here I'll come and grab them.
So I'm not fully sure exactly what's going on, but they've told me that there was going to be a segment.
I want Richard to put on Yeezys, so
Here,
we can
here.
turn AJ into a hype. And we can turn Richard into a hype beast. There's a
Hypebeast.
little bit of poop on the bottom of these or something. Show the camera.
Mulch or something.
Show the camera.
There we go, guys.
There we go. Here's what they look like on feet.
I wonder. Do they smell good?
I mean, they're pretty new.
They're not too dank.
By the way,
I'm gonna go ahead and start putting these on. You guys want to see some little tiny atrophy feet?
some atrophy.
Yeah. You know what I'm honestly the most concerned about is my bladder is full of coffee and Perrier, and I'm literally gonna probably pee on myself. So like, fuck it though. We're no show.
Did you already wash your cushion from the other day when you sweated like a
Oh
bitch?
yeah, I watched
Okay,
the
good.
bottom one and the back one. Yeah. But
I'm
if I
curious-
pee, it'll stay in the boxer brief region.
I'm curious. These Yeezys are really wide. I'm curious if they're gonna fit in your
I was just
they might
thinking
not.
that.
foot thing. But anyways, so here's something interesting about these shoes.
Wait, do I have only slip on, right?
I mean, yeah, they're slip-ons. Yeah,
Dude, I've got like
the tiniest feet.
so
yeah.
much.
Well, it's fine. It's fine. They'll look even more hilarious then.
Dude, that's
So
These look like moon boots, dog.
they're Yeezys, bro. They're hype. So the shoes that I'm wearing, believe it or not, I actually got these used because they don't make them anymore. But I have like 9 pairs of them. Like I have so many pairs. But I have a bunch of pairs of fly knits.
Oh, they
fit.
They actually do. Hold on.
How
AJ,
do they feel?
AJ.
I mean, we're gonna take a better picture for the thumbnail, I think. But
How do they? I mean,
how do they feel?
I don't know.
Can you just take one step, maybe? See how they squish?
I mean, I don't want to move. I'm full of
I know.
pee, bro.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I want to see because that's
right.
the whole thing. The
We captured the
boost.
moment.
Because that's the funniest part about these is they're Yeezy boosts, right? So they've got boost in the sole, so they're really squishy. So like when
I
you
would
step, they're
these
very
are so
squishy.
big, I would trip over myself.
Oh yeah, for
the
sure.
reason why
well,
I like
they're
do
not
kinda
your
like
size
clown
either.
shoes.
the reason why I like the shoes that I have is because these are very closely the size of my actual
They're low
feet.
profile.
So they're not much longer, not much wider, not much taller than my actual foot. So I have the ability to
These
walk,
are way bigger
to
than
walk,
your actual foot.
Walk on these without tripping over myself. You know, like, and I just like really tiny basic shoes that I can.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate the AJ cam today?
Dude, these are a 10. These are the hypest, the hypest shoes that you've had.
It's a good start. It's a good start, but I feel like I've seen your shoe collection before, and I think you can.
Well,
do better.
the Chinese New Year's are pretty hype.
Those are pretty hype. But that's what
y'all
we got
are
for this
talking
week.
about shit. I don't even know. I love this. I'm leaving these on. I'm not changing them yet.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
yeah.
fine with Richard being a hype beast.
But yeah, the whole thing about them is that they have boost. They're Yeezy Boost. So when you step, they're really squishy. Like they feel really nice when you take
Also, you're repping Kanye, so
you're also repping Kanye. So Kanye for Prez. I think he actually officially dropped out, and he's getting like investigated because he had like a bunch of fake signatures to like get him on the ballot. Anyways, doesn't matter. But yeah, I would rock Yeezys if they were a little more reasonably priced, I think. But the thing I was gonna say is it's funny how it's so the Yeezy Boost, like obviously they're hype and they're cool looking and blah blah blah, but like also the boot, they're really comfortable. But like for wheelchair users that have like tons of Yeezy Boosts, like it's like you're never like taking advantage of the boost, you're just taking advantage of the look, which is fine, but it's just funny.
Well,
but wheelchair users can have dank sneaker collections.
Sneaker collection,
and they'll be fucking pristine.
Yeah, and sneaker culture, no crease, no nothing. Yeah, there's this.
Oh yeah, no crease.
There's two guys I think of. There's one guy named Brad and one guy named Nate. And the guy named Brad, he's
Garrison has a pretty significant sneaker collection.
Garrison is, yeah.
He was rocking some Yeezy, some low key Yeezys. He was rocking the.
Garrison is not low key at all, dude.
No, but in our video, in the New York video, like those Yeezys were very low key. I forget what are the ones that are like the kind of like suede ones that are like I don't remember what number they are.
Yeah, I think
they're not the like Wave Runner version. They're like another number.
When I think of Wave Runner,
it's like 370s.
I think that
that game. The shoes, the Wave Runners look like that game.
I think of the game, and then I also think of the DJ, the Wave Runner.
Wave Racer.
Oh, Wave Racer.
Yeah. Yeah, the Wave Runner Yeezys, they called them that because they look kind of like
a little jet ski,
like an old school jet ski.
They
like
do.
The colors are.
They do.
So those are the Yeezy Boost 700 Wave Runners. Are those? Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are on the.
I think it's the 500. This one.
Yes, the 500s. That was what Garrison was rocking. He was rocking like the chocolate ones, like dark brown, or maybe even like graphite. I don't know. They were like dark. They were kind of like this color or like a brown. But anyways, we thought that would be a fun little segment. Richard trying on hype shoes for the first time.
And while we're at it, can we talk about the sidemen?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So I've been watching KSI recently. Have you ever watched KSI?
Nah.
Or the sidemen?
Nah.
Dude, like
I'd be open to try it. Like
I'm very impressed with their whole operation. Like I saw this article the other day and it was like the 10 most influential brands of, the past 10 years or whatever. And there was a lot of brands on there, like Mr. Beast was on there, Pizza Slime was on there, Supreme was on there, Sidemen were on there, OnlyFans was on there. Like there was like a bunch of just like Snapchat was on there, Genius was on there. There was just a lot of brands that are just very culturally aware and brands that just know how to like create massive waves no matter what. And the Sidemen were on there, so I was like, damn, are they really that big? And I looked at their numbers, bro. Like, they upload weekly, and they pull stupid numbers. And basically what the Sidemen are is it's all these gamers that like have separate channels in their own right that are like already pretty famous in their own right.
Oh, okay.
But they all come together. It's almost kind of like FaZe Clan, where like FaZe Banks, FaZe Rug, FaZe like all of them. And then if they have like a FaZe Clan channel, which they might, and they just do weekly videos on that channel. So the Sidemen are like all of KSI's Sidemen, because KSI is definitely the biggest one. I think that's kind of why they called it that. But they're all called the Sidemen. And basically they're like these British like YouTubers that, are all like gamers, I think. And basically, what are you tapping? Refresh?
No, I'm being an idiot. You know how I always like delete? Like I usually transition my notes over to my notes and then I delete them. I was deleting them from the show notes, so I'm hitting undo.
I noticed it. I didn't mind.
Undo.
But yeah, like the Sidemen channel has almost 9 million subscribers, and every week they're uploading videos. It just gets stupid views. Like you're looking at your weekly views. 3 days ago, 4.2 million views. 1 week ago, 6 million, 8 million, 8 million.
And you said these are hour-long videos?
And these videos are long. Like the last one was an hour. The other one's 37 minutes, an hour, 50 minutes, 35 minutes, an hour, 20, 33 minutes, 36 minutes, 46 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 37 minutes, 39 minutes. Like they're all significantly long. So these guys are getting like stupid ad revenue from this. The one that I watched recently was the sidemen spend $10,000 or sidemen spend $100,000 on each other in 1 hour. And so they each got $10,000 to spend on one other member. So it's kind of like Secret Santa.
But you only got
1 hour.
I feel like Dude Perfect did that at one point, but they didn't. It was no time limit on it. They just had to spend $100,000.
It was part of their podcast.
Oh yeah, and it was like one of them bought each other a supercar, and another one bought each other a set of sneakers.
Well, you know why they did that? You know why they did that? Because they always have this segment called like Hot or Not, and each of them gets to bring some sort of novelty item and they all vote whether it's hot or not. But typically they have like a budget and they never say what the budget is, but there was like, guys, I went a little over budget this week. And there was this one guy that consistently went over budget. And so they said because he went over budget, he wasn't allowed to participate in the next one, and the next one had no budget.
Oh,
and so they all got each other like the most ridiculous shit. Like one guy got like a Rolls Royce Phantom leased for like a year. Another guy got like a Lambo and all this stuff. And like the one guy didn't get anything.
Another guy got like an infinite amount of like shoes or something.
Like
yeah.
he was able to like, it was like a shoe subscription or like, I don't know.
It was
like a year's worth of shoes. Like you got a shoe every month or I don't know, but yeah. It's pretty funny. But yeah, the videos like that just slap. I think Mr. Beast has really just like made that type of content like so elevated. But the cool thing about the sidemen is
going above and beyond, like extravagant, crazy, like people that are like, I'd never be able to do that ever, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not really into like gaming content and stuff, but I do like the idea of like the sidemen because it's basically like a show. Like it's a full production. They're all just wearing mics and they're all doing stuff, and there's just cameramen like following them around. Like it doesn't feel like, what's up guys, with the sidemen, like vlogging type stuff. It's very put together. Like obviously the massive budget, but it's crazy to think that these guys just kind of like all come together like once a week and just film like a video together, but they also in their own right have like very successful channels. And it was funny, like during the challenge or whatever, to buy each other stuff, like one guy got this one thing and he was like, I didn't know if you were gonna like it, and it was these chocolates that were like $600. He was like, wait, I'm not gonna eat them on camera. I'm gonna save them. It's content. And he's like, that's the best gift you could give any of us is a fucking video. Like giving us content is the best. You know, you can't put monetary value on some content. So it's pretty funny. But yeah.
It's like, here's this fancy gold leafed truffle.
$1
yeah.
chocolate to fucking $500 chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. Rating chocolates, you know, rating $50 chocolate versus $500. You know, whatever. Anyways, we're out of time. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for repping us. Did we change the Patreon levels yet, or is that coming soon?
Mechanically, yes, but it's not pretty.
Oh, okay.
So,
but if you go on Patreon currently, they look a little bit different. We got some new levels. Bloopers level is coming soon, or it's out. So you can. So basically, we're gonna release a bloopers video every month for our patrons. So go check that out if you're already a patron. Maybe you want to up your patronage so you can get those bloopers. They're going to be really funny.
And there's other opportunities to get one-on-one time with me, and then there's even opportunities to get involved in the content.
And we added a podcast shout out tier, I believe.
Yeah.
So
that's an example.
Before you were only getting shouted out on like the main video. Now you can get shouted out on the Patreon or on the podcast.
So it was end credits of the main video.
You don't get a shout out. You got like in the credits.
Yeah. But now we've actually added a thing. So it's like if you like and support us so much that you want us to
say your name,
shout you out like in the main video, you can do that. Like in the same way, if you really like this podcast a lot and you want us to like shout you out and talk about you or whatever
on the podcast,
we can do that. You know, it's a part of the tier.
Yes,
so.
we'll talk more about that next week when it looks a little more nicer. But yeah, you guys are the hardcore homies. You're making it to the end of the podcast, so we know you guys would care the most probably about that type of thing. But that's pretty much it. Follow us on places.
Peace.